first time we meet.
No, ma'am. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I want to talk to you about Homestead.
Yes, ma'am.
And the first quick point that I just want to ask you, it's been brought to my attention that the city of Homestead has sent multiple requests to your office, particularly talking about the name of the facility, and they haven't received any responses. You can imagine what it's doing to this thriving community that I represent, that I'm very proud to represent. Are you willing to please make a quick response to the City of Homestead officials?
Yes, ma'am. I will respond back to the mayor.
Thank you. So on May 29th, you gave me a tour of the Homestead Detention Facility, and you told me that you did not at that time had a hurricane plan. I've been continuously asking for a hurricane plan, and just 24 hours ago, right before the hearing, I was finally able to receive the hurricane plan. So I am grateful for that.
Yes, ma'am. And if I may, I believe we're going to be briefing you in person with my emergency management team in a couple of weeks down in your district.
I'm going to be down on Saturday, so
Okay.
maybe someone can do that on Saturday. A month ago, you also told me, the last time that I visited, that there were over 2,700 kids at the facility, but according to your office now, nearly 1,400 kids have been moved out of Homestead just in the past 2 weeks. So I have a lot of questions, and
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
know if you were able to see my letter that I sent to you on July 5th with over 50 questions to your office, which I have yet to receive a response from your office on that. And
We have seen it, ma'am, and we're working on those responses.
yes, it's been over 3 weeks. And Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask for unanimous consent to introduce this letter for the record.
Without objection.
So when I toured the facility, I met several kids there that had been separated from their families at the border. So the family separation policy that you say that is not happening anymore continues to happen. I know that for a fact because I spoke with some of the children. So my first question to you, Mr. Hayes, how were you able to move 1,400 kids in 2 weeks?
I think that's a great question, ma'am. We did it in 2 ways. Number one, the capacity I just want to clear one thing. The capacity at Homestead was never above 2,700. That was the max capacity that we were able to take there, and we didn't quite get there. In regards to the number of children that we moved out, we did 2 things. I would specifically point to the 4th operational directive that we have spoken about and you're aware of, where at this time, a recommendation put forward to me by the team, the field team at ORR, and then further considered and put forward by the senior career staff of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, where we are at this time treating grandparents and adult siblings the same way we would in our background check process as moms and dads. If I may finish, please, ma'am. And also the numbers have significantly dropped in referrals coming into
That's not the story I heard last time, that you were getting more referrals, is what I heard about a month ago, that you were expecting 500 more kids to go to Homestead. So let me just ask you, how many of those kids were moved with family members? Out of the 1,400 kids, how many of them are with family members?
So the overwhelming majority of them are, ma'am. The number I know when we were down there last week with a CODEL, it was about 900 that we had moved, and about 80 to 90 of them had been transferred to other licensed permanent shelters because they were long stayers, or what we refer to as Category 4.
So can I get a list of that? I would like to
Sure, we can break that down by category, and we'll go ahead and update it with the number of 1,400,
So
ma'am.
why are you still holding close to 900 kids at the detention facility?
Well, at the Homestead Influx Shelter right now, we are working to bring that census down just as quickly and safely as we can. One of the things that we have done, again, we have not designated any children to Homestead since July 3rd, and we have not designated any children to our other influx shelter, Carrizo Springs, since July 17th. I've got approximately 800 to 900 permanent beds that are set up for teenagers as of a couple of days ago. And if I were to move all of those children immediately into those other permanent beds, that would put me in a situation where I would have...
much time. Director Hayes, I want to move very quickly on a couple of things. The kids that are turning 18, are you still sending them to ICE in shackles on the day of their birthday?
We are not sending any children to ICE. As we've talked about numerous times, ma'am, when the child turns 18, our statutory authority over that child ends, and they refer back to the custody of DHS.
But they have been referred to ICE in shackles, correct?
They're not referred to ICE. They're required to go back to ICE because they're no longer children
in
at that time.
shackles on their 18th birthday.
I would defer to my colleagues at ICE to how they process children
And very quickly,
that
the
age out.
private for-profit company, Caliburn,
Yes, ma'am.
which John Kelly is the person that, one of the architects of the family separation policy, is now on the board of Caliburn. How did they get a $340 million non-bid contracts, especially when you just said that you were running out of resources? And this was early May, before we passed the supplemental bill. $340 million no-bid contract to Caliburn when John Kelly, who started the family separation policy, is on the board of this company. Explain that to me, please.
So my response to that would be, ma'am, that the company, Comprehensive Health Services, and that original contract was chosen back in December of 2015, long before General Kelly was involved in the administration, and it is an operation and a program that we have maintained into this one.
How long is that contract for?
It expires November 30th of this year, ma'am.
Well, are you willing to commit today that you are right now in the process of closing down the detention facility that is located in Homestead?
I will not commit that we will close it down, but you do have my commitment that we are working at this very moment to reduce the census down to 0 just as quickly, but as safely as we can. But again, in order to meet the child welfare mission that we have at ORR, I want to be able to take kids as quickly as possible from the Border Patrol stations. We want to put them in permanent beds, but if we don't have permanent beds...
I have spoken with so many kids, many of them that have been there for months, and I know that you've been now recently, because of my oversight, reduced the length of time that the kids have been in Homestead. Thank goodness that we have brought awareness to this issue. If not, we would see 3,000 kids in Homestead that are there without being reunified with family members. I know that most of them have family members in this country. Thank you, and I really do expect answers to my 51 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Time of the